Do you wonder if you're the best version of yourself? This is the question we seek to answer in this podcast. We reveal information that helps you recover your health and become resilient. Modern life makes us fragile. Our diet, lifestyle, and environment set us up for failure. We do not accept this. We seek optimization. We strive to become dynamic. Hey, Dr. Chris here. Today I want to talk about autoimmune disease and how you can manage it, partially manage it through HRV. HRV I've talked about a number of times on this podcast. One of my favorite metrics. I think it's one of the most reliable metrics. Just to review, it stands for heart rate variability, and it is the measure of distance between each heartbeat. So under normal circumstances, when you are in a parasympathetic state, which should be most of the time, there should be variance in your heart rate. As you inhale, the heart rate slightly speeds up. As you exhale, it slightly speeds down. That's the normal sort of sinus rhythm to your heart rate. When we are in a fixed, concentrated, or sympathetic state, it's a little counterintuitive, but that heart rate becomes way more consistent. So when you look at your HRV, it's giving you insight into how your nervous system is doing. We should probably most of the day be in a parasympathetic state, and only when we're in a very concentrated period of our day or under some sort of threat, that's when we should turn into that more sympathetic state. So that's that. The HRV should reflect that. And when your HRV is low, or there's low variance, it's a sign that you're in a much more sympathetic state, aka a stress state. That is a sign of poor recovery. So how you use HRV is you look at what you did the day before and see what your HRV is that next morning. If it's low, you've had too much stress in the bucket that previous day. If it's high, you've done enough parasympathetic activities and you're in a more recovered state. And you can use that as a tool to assess and see what is doing, sort of not damage, but creating chaos in your HRV and what is stressing you out. And when I say stress, I don't mean just perceived stress. I'm talking about, all the things, all the stressors. So lack of sleep, alcohol, lack of hydration, poor diet, excessive exercise, or like HIIT training. Intense exercise is a stressor. Even cold plunge and sauna, as much as I tout that as a recovery piece, when you're already in we have all these multiple stressors already, it is adding more stress to the environment. So you can get a handle on how much stress and how resilient your body is. And then you can also use it on the other end to predict or to plan how you want to attack that day. So if you're in a poorly recovered state with your HRV low, then that's a day to not go do a PR in the gym. That's a day to do maybe some foam rolling, get a massage, light aerobic work, things that generally make you feel better to bring your HRV back up. Conversely, if your HRV is really high, that's a day to get after it in the gym. So that's just a quick little review of HRV. Now, you can use this really reliably to help with an autoimmune disease. So autoimmune disease is plaguing Western society. There's like well over 80, I think it's close to 100 now, of different autoimmune diseases. Some common ones I'm just going to throw out there: multiple sclerosis, Hashimoto's, sjogren's, lupus. I mean, there's IBS, IBD. Oh, sorry, one of those is not. I forget which one. And the list goes on and on. What triggers these, everyone kind of thinks it's genetic. Genetics may predict which type of autoimmune disease you develop, but genes are like light switches that can be turned or on or off. They can be expressed depending on your environment, your internal and external environment, otherwise known as the exposome. Your sum total of exposures can turn on genes. So again, that could be internal or external. So internal, like perceived stress, is an internal stressor. Poor blood sugar is an internal stressor, and we do know that people with prediabetes, diabetes tend to develop autoimmune diseases. There's a lot of external stressors too. There's actually an acronym, TIGER. I think I've discussed this in the podcast before. It stands for toxins, infections, gut health, what to eat, and what to not eat, and your recovery. So that's an acronym that's from the work of Dr. Akil Palmasamy. Those are the 5 known triggers to trigger autoimmune disease. Now, autoimmune disease is kind of described as an overactive immune system or an immune system that's just gone haywire. So the current sort of mainstream medical way to treat it is to prescribe things to suppress the immune system, such as prednisone or methotrexate or some combination of that. But that's not going to come without negatives. You kind of need your immune system. So just to suppress it might make the symptoms, might abate the symptoms temporarily, but you're going to have secondary issues. Probably not a good idea to be on corticosteroids long term. Well, I can't say that from a medical perspective, but I will say there will be secondary things that arise, such as insomnia, weight gain, and you'll probably be more likely to develop things like infections if you're suppressing your immune system. So what if you could learn to turn the genes off by identifying the one of those 5 exposures? And by the way, it tends to be multiple things. So like say toxins, say mold exposure or pesticide exposure. That's what I mean by toxins. With a history of mono or Lyme disease, like it tends to be like these things in combination, and maybe you have a food sensitivity as well that kind of turn on that gene for whatever, Sjogren syndrome or whatever. And then it's that recovery component. That's really what I'm talking about with the HRV stuff. Once you have this, all these insults to your immune system, and the immune system starts going up and down like a roller coaster ride, you have to learn to rein it in. So I'd personally recommend that, I think anybody would benefit from tracking their HRV, getting something like Oura Ring, which is what I use, or Whoop Strap, or Morpheus. Garmin does it, and Apple Watch too. Getting something to start looking at your HRV. And if you're finding that you're way below baseline all the time, or you're fluctuating like crazy, well, that's a sign that there's an imbalance in your immune system. So for starters, just learn what is triggering that, learn your stressors, and learn how to modulate that better just through your HRV and looking at your activity. And then if you do have an autoimmune disease, maybe you want to start thinking about what's that root cause, what is turning on or expressing that gene, and that's where you can do some work with us or a functional medicine practitioner, because you can test for all these types of things. I think that the combination of physical therapy and functional medicine is uniquely positioned to start, I don't want to say solving, but improving and mitigating autoimmune disease, because we can test for these things and we can make diet and lifestyle recommendations to start getting you on the right path. So if this is resonating with you, please reach out to us and we can get you on the right track. And lastly, I'll just add that I created a PDF, like a free ebook on 35 ways to improve HRV. I will attach it to the show notes. It's just a free download. A ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are meant to do. What does this mean? It means exposing yourself to difficult situations so you become resilient. If you need help building resilience, check out our flagship program called Physiologic Flexibility. This is a 3-month do-it-yourself program that teaches you how to maximize your homeostatic regulators, such as your pH, blood glucose, O2 and CO2 tolerance, and temperature. We give you specific action items through the program with the goal of becoming anti-fragile. If you want to become the inspiration for your friends and family, this is the program for you.